Hey y'all, what up? This is Michael Samuelson, or whatever my real name was again. I don't quite remember because I'm a little high right now, I'll be honest with you. I'm really, really messed up in my mind. In my mind. Okay. Hey y'all. Well, talking about that dream stuff and talking about the other world made me kind of want to reiterate this kind of shit again, which I've already talked about, but I feel like I'm going to have to fucking talk about it again. So why not just jump right into it? As somebody says. Who says that? I don't know who says it. Let's just get into it, man. Like, this, my friends and friendettes, is the fucking way that this shit works. Now, remember when I told you that I've been exploring the other world, that Celtic kind of stuff? Well, let me be honest with you. It's really hard to explore that stuff when everyone else is telling you what it might be. So, what I kind of had to do was just go only in my mind. I'm not allow any kind of almost a disturbance, any kind of outside perspective on it. I would love to hear what it really was, but again, I said it a bunch. The Celts never wrote anything down. Now, for me, as a disclaimer, before we get into it, I'll tell you exactly why. I've always been kind of fascinated with the other world. When I kind of discovered that it was a concept, it blew me away. I don't know what it was. It just something about it just felt right, felt natural, and it felt like I don't know how to word it. It just felt as if it made sense in my head. There's a lot of little fruit flies because the plants. I'll be doing this a lot, catching them. But it made a lot of sense to me, like what it is and like what it means and all that stuff. But before we get into this motherfucker, excuse me, this thing, let us go and type in the other world. I guess we use Wikipedia again. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know sources, but here we go. The concept of an otherworld in historical Indo-European religion is reconstructed in comparative mythology. Its name is a colloquy of Orbis, Elenus, Latin for other, earthworld. A term used by Lucian in his description of the Celtic otherworld. Now, we were here before, were we not? Remember? Well, let's go to the Celtic otherworld. Let's kind of talk about that. In Celtic mythology, the otherworld is a realm of the deities and possibly also the dead. In Gaelic and Brittonic myth, it's usually a supernatural realm of everlasting youth, beauty, health, abundance, and joy. It is described either as a parallel world that exists alongside our own, or as a heavenly land beyond the sea or under the earth even. The other world is usually elusive, but various mythical heroes visit it either through chance or after being invited by one of its residents. Okay, I'm going to stop right there just because of already what can, start to tick-tock in my mind. The inviting from another resident, like a resident that's within this place, the residing people. So it'll obviously start to get into what that means, the people that reside within this. Disclaimer real quick, I'm not a professional in any of this, just so you know. But what I wonder, I'll say it that way, is that inviting inside this other realm. So what can that possibly mean? I know for a fact that there's elements within our mind that mythology tries to explore, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, within that, if I were to be invited into this other place, you could also see it as being invited in the dream realm. Maybe that's one thing. Or being invited into this realm of misunderstanding to gain something in order to come back. So it's kind of like the purpose of a myth when it comes to, apparently, as I have heard, some of these people entering this realm or being invited into this realm, they have to attain something in this place. So what could that mean in our minds when it comes to what the mythology is trying to say about ourselves? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is it that in our life, in this world, that we have to, in our head or physically around us, enter into this place, this other world, in order to obtain something? Because I can't imagine, like, with storytelling, that this other world is just like, oh yeah, there's no fucking point. We just told these stories because fuck you. I can't imagine it being that way. Just because of how stories work and what storytelling really is, okay? Now, like I said, it's elusive, blah, blah, blah. They often reach it by entering ancient burial mounds or caves, or by going underwater or across the Western Sea. Sometimes they suddenly find themselves in the other world with the appearance of a magical mist, supernatural beings, or unusual animals. So that's that part that I was like, wait a minute. In my dream, this is kind of reflecting back to that dream. An otherworldly woman may invite the hero into the other world by offering an apple or a silver, what does it say? Apple branch, or a ball of thread to follow as it unwinds. The other world is usually called Annwn. Is that how you say that? I'm not sure. In Welsh mythology, Avalon. In Arthurian legend. In the Irish mythology, it has several names. Golly, if I could say that. Tir na Nog, I don't know if that's how you say that. Magmel, I've heard it said that way. Ermain Ablak. In the Irish myth, there is also Tecduin, where the souls of the dead gather. My God, already, all fucking ready. There's elements in my story that will explore that place, that Tecduin. Damn you. What's going to happen? This is like one of my, every time in one of my videos, it's always like, you need to like stay focused because you're just everywhere. Like, I can't help it. That's how my mind works. I don't know how to stay in one thing. I can just jump off and fly away. So, and it talks about the names and blah, blah, blah. Didn't that just, is that just like a copy of that? I'm not going to read in all of it. In tales, the other world is often reached by entering ancient burial mounds, such as those in Bruna Boyne and Cronk Media. I don't know. Fucking Irish words, man. Okay, so when I was talking about my dreams, as I was pondering this stuff last night, and I was talking to my lady friend about it, I had a realization. All of these, so all these dreams that mean something, the ones that I didn't tell on this channel and the ones that I did, there's a presence. How do I word this? There is a being that I feel watching me make the decisions that I make or seeing what I'm doing. Now, I've equated this being to being some sort of, I don't even know. I've never thought about this until last night. But I was starting to think like, okay, remember how I said in that dream I had that there was me fighting that weird deer guy, whatever it was. And then when I did it, there was an approval of this other being. Well, that is that same being that I heard a few times in my dreams. And I can't quite prove that it's one being or a group of beings. I don't know. But they are these overseeing people. So, the way that your life is constructed, either on purpose or an accident, you will start to implement that into the things that you make, your creations, your art, your fucking whatever it is. You start to implement that stuff into what you do. I've accidentally realized just now that I've been implementing these beings within my story. Now, we learned a little bit about the other world. We're not going to go totally into it. This is not a Celtic channel. If you want to know about that, you should go to Celtic channels and find that out. Because holy Christmas Kringle, is it nuts. Let's go back to my version. What I'm doing here. Okay? Now, I call them... What do I call them? The observers. And these observers are the ones that are the most elusive beings in the entire universe, if you want to call it, of my book. The entire lore universe of the entirety. Now, okay, I don't remember what I called that. Oh God, it was like here's the fucking thing, okay? The farthest outposts of mankind, mortal man's absolute limit, gather the ones called the observers. Forgive me, I didn't spell correct any of this, so I wasn't meant to show anybody. To gaze upon man and his devastating mark on the land. They watch as merely spectators on the day-to-day growth of mass consciousness. They would see the behavior as one massive being stirring and turning, thrashing its arms to and fro. In their seclusion, they have been known to meddle in the affairs and deviate the ever-present straightforwardness of the swinging arms of destruction. As the beast fights to free itself from bondage, one that the Creator has devised, it was all too clear the beast was fighting for its life. For that is what they call man, the beast. As they speak of man, only do they think of mass life as one single living entity. One that does great harm, yet can be a force to be reckoned with. There were few men in antiquity that have discovered this outer-reaching place and survived. For it could be seen as cerebral elevation as much as undiscovered land. The prophet Odysseus would discover the path to elevation, throwing himself away from the beast. He eventually made contact with the observers, being the first man in centuries to do this. It was then he who learned of Tanais' eventual betrayal, causing the great rift between the foundation of man's presence on Vas. This would bring forth the separation of brother, the single greatest event in history, carving up the division between blood. This was the beginning of great nations drawing lines upon the ground and migrating vast quantity of folk between dualities. Now, we can go more into that, but that's the story of Odysseus' journey. Odysseus in my book, well, he's kind of a Moses character. I mean, honestly, he is a Moses character. He's more than just kinda. You know, he is born into this royal life. God knows what his origins were. I mean, it was said that he was the twin of Tanais, and Tanais and him were born of Tan, the first man. Watch the video about Tantorum, by the way. That's a whole thing, but he's the one that's seen as this prophet to lead the people, the Anaku, away from the Trinity Forest for the last time. That's exactly what he is. Now, that's who that Odysseus guy was, just so you know. He's the Moses character in the story. Tan is like Noah. Kinda. In a way. Kinda Noah. Now, these observers, that's all I've ever mentioned about them. I don't really know how much will be talked about in the books and stuff. Being that you're watching this video, you're learning before the books come out, so you're kind of on the in crowd. So you can't tell anybody once I release it. Just kidding. I made these videos preemptively for the day I finally fucking release all this stuff. So there's this backlog, you know, of videos to understand the lore and stuff. That's besides the point. These observers are these beings. And I talk about it in my dreams because I just noticed it accidentally kind of connected in my head to say these observers are these ones. I can't tell you if they're gods. I can't tell you if they are, I don't know, demigods or demons. I don't fucking know. Are they just people from another dimension? Whatever your imagination could imagine they could be. I don't know. So I've always referred to them as the observers because they, like I've said before, they could be a group of men wearing business clothes, sitting in a fucking weird conference room, overseeing all this, like some weird corporate bullshit, you know, as you imagine what the Illuminati are. Or they could be like Zeus, Hera, and all the other motherfuckers sitting on Mount Olympus, looking down on man and all the things he's doing. It's not quite clear. The idea that I always try to explore was I'm not sure what a god is. Because in our mind, it's like, oh man, a god's a fucking god. What do you mean, what is a god? My thinking was, what if a god is just a higher being, right? I'm sure it's been explored many times, but that's the one thing I wanted to do with it. These observers are the ones that I don't know, they're just like the most mysterious beings. And in my dreams, that's what I imagine that those voices are. Some sort of strange higher being observing my actions, but only through the dream world. Only through the place that doesn't exist necessarily. Or does it? I don't know. So with that in mind, let's jump back to this picture here and talk about it a little bit more. Up here, you see what we know. This is what I consider the realm of the Titans. This is the realm of the Aeon, the realm of the observers. Each one of them is within their own solar system, and they're all inside this galaxy. This is the universe that we know in real fucking life. This isn't just some fucking made up... What are you doing? This isn't just a made up universe. This is the actual universe. Earth inside the Milky Way is somewhere up here. I don't know where, right? Now, our world that the book takes place in is outside of it. And I can go into the nitty gritty and the diagrams of what each thing's called, but this is the world of Yuandra. This is the map that you see. Right back here. And remember that one drawing I was doing of the entire world? Well, that exists inside of this bubble here, upon the back of Mother. I've talked about this a bit, what it all is and what Mother is and stuff, and the darkness and the whisper. That's a different kind of lore that we will definitely explore in time. I'm just trying to wonder what that creaking sound is. Bitch! We'll explore that in time. I don't know. That's something that I don't know if I need to go into here. I've already talked about it. So this is the place that these observers are observing through their, I don't know, beings, through the people that they control, which would be the Titans. Now, how does that work and what does that mean? I don't have a fucking clue. But in my mind, going back to the beginning of this video, this is what I'm imagining the other world is. Not in Celtic mythology, but of my own creation. So I don't want to make claims like this is what I think it is for Celts. I don't know what that would have been for them. But for me, myself, and I, this place is definitely something that I feel like is close to how I'm imagining what might be going on. Now, the dream world and the other world in my mind are kind of interconnected. Not necessarily the same place, but they kind of intertwine within each other. And how do I mean that? Well, let me find that other picture. What's the other picture that I can find? The one that your grandma sent me? I don't know. Oh gosh, I only have this one. Well, there's only this half of it. The other half is down there. Poop balls. I didn't take a picture of that half. There was a video that I made called The Chains of Time. And I talked about it. I think you should watch that to understand where I'm about to go here. So if you don't know what the Chains of Time are, pause this here and go back and watch the video called Chains of Time. After that, come back here. Welcome back, motherfucker. I'm just kidding. Going through the chains of time, the future and the present. Damn it, I always do that. The past and the future. The two driving mechanisms that control our worlds. And we are in the center of it, in the now and the knowing. In that point of the now and knowing is the idea of manifested and unmanifested. So let me get a drawing out here and let me do a little drawing here. So we have, this is very crude, I know. This is the future. This is the past. And here's the chains of time. That's the chains. This is us right now. This is the being of now. But there's a division of manifested and unmanifested. Things that within our mind that we can create either in reality, physically, like I'm imagining a stone structure here. I will build it physically. That goes from unmanifested into manifested, or ideas within the mind to say, like, my ideas that I have about life are unmanifested and then I make it reality, like goals and dreams and all this bullshit. That is how that works right there. That is the center point of how things happen. And from that, it moves back to the past again. Now, how did I do that? Create union to pass through. So this is positive and this is negative. And so it's, as you understand magnetism, right? They coalesce, they come together because they're meant to be one. There can be a way to access the subconscious. Now, let's erase all this. Let's pretend this is that circle we just had down there, the manifested, unmanifested. We can access through what I'm considering the blend, this place to pass into the unconscious. Now that's something you can do through meditation. That's something that, in any form of meditation, whether that be even driving, or that would be reading, or that would be praying, or true meditation, or yoga, or whatever the fuck you do to kind of chill your mind out. From that blend, you come into this reality. You have to discern. It's hard to write with the little mouse. I'm sorry. Between reality and the dream world. This is within the understanding of manifestation and unmanifestation. This is definitely how it comes to be. So when I have something I want to manifest from the dream world, from an idea, I have to bring that into reality. And it has to cross through what I'm considering right now, God frequency. Let's just call it GF. Girlfriend. I'm calling it God frequency right now because I don't have an actual term for it. Inside of that, and mind you, we're not in the universe yet of the book. I'm showing you how we get there. It's at this crucial point that we have the next level to obtain in order to access the realm of the book. And that, from inside of here, will go further again. So we're all this stuff, which is, there's your reality, and there's your fucking dream, and here's God frequency. From that point, the blend of reality and the dream world, can you access something with the choice? And that choice is the beast. Damn, dude, that's so hard, right? It's the beast. So the beast is, what's the best example to give? In the Bible. Remember the story about the guy going in the belly of the whale? That's the beast. That's entering into this place. I consider it a dark dream. So you enter the whale. You enter the unknown, which is between reality and the dream world, because you're going to pull forth something that's not there. So remember where we started, and here's where we're going to continue. From that choice, we have the dark dream. That is the lowest place that you can possibly understand. That is the lowest place. Remember in that last video I said you have to be in your darkest place to find God? That's the fucking place right there. The dark dream. This dark dream, why did I make that a fucking O? It's dark dream. This dark dream leads you to the astral. And from the astral, do we finally, it's a little more complex than that. But from the astral realm, can you finally start to find, so from the astral realm is boom, right down there, you see the astral strings? That leads you on this journey of as below, so below, the infinite, the understanding of the fractal nature of life. From this level, if you can obtain it and understand it and pass even into this, only then will you be able to enter this fucking place. So all what I just said takes place in here. Okay? Kramos is the sun in my universe, in my world. But if you look at its placement, oh God, so many pictures. If you look at its placement, the sun is this infinity. This right here, this is what I'm calling the eye of God. This eye of God is the sun, is the portal in which the Titans found the way through into this realm. Now you are obtaining true gnosis. No, I'm just kidding. Now you're obtaining the entrance of the realm. And from that point, this is how I was able to kind of discern what the other world might be. It's a whole ass process. It starts with your real life, and manifestation and manifestation leads to the reality dream blend. From that point, you have to enter the beast, go through the dark dream, then have you go through the astral, which is the true dream world, to be able to enter this place. It is my understanding that the place where my book takes place is a dream, is the within the mind of the creator. It's just these lowly entities, which are considered titans and aeons, the ones that are born in the universe, these other beings, let's call them for us aliens, access this place just as well as anyone else and are now taking control of it. So what's the significance of this place here? As you can clearly see, outside of the universe has an end, and outside of it is darkness, is nothingness. That is the place of creation. That is my understanding of the place of God, is where God truly exists. God and Gaia. As above, so below. As you would imagine, the two deities that are in this place outside the realm of understanding is where they exist. And these other beings that came here are allowed to manipulate and play with just what it is to be a god. Imagine you yourself have found a way to transcend beyond the known universe, but outside of that universe is the toolbox of God. And for some reason, you have full power to mess with it. And then you start making things, and then you start doing godlike things, and it's kind of a bastardization, but it's still working. That's this world. The lore of the Anaku will explain what Mother is and what the darkness really is. But to me, this is the understanding of the other world. Is this real? I don't think so. I don't know. This is just my imagination trying to make sense of, like, how the hell do I make this world work? You know, I don't know. I'm not learned enough to just keep borrowing from everyone else. I can only understand the little things that I have to discovered. Dude, I swear those little fruit flies are annoying. But I think it would be kind of cool. I thought it would be kind of cool just because of the dream that I had the other day to kind of explain how this other world works in my story. So you can kind of get an understanding of more of what this book really fucking is. Because I've been slowly trying to introduce the book now in its like complete form enough to keep like not be too, because it can be confusing when you don't know what's going on. You're like, well, what the fuck is this channel? I don't know what this story, I don't understand. Because there's like some videos that are like that. A couple videos ago, Jacob was doing a presentation of the Siomic states. In your mind, you're thinking, what the fuck is a Siomic state and what is all this shit? And you see all the ones I did, and he did another one of Sarsia. And you see all these countries and shit. And we're talking about a prelude to the trade war. And it's like, that's all stuff that's happening inside this bubble, this lens of God. Now, I definitely might be going into what the Titans are, and I might tell their story that I wrote of who they are, where they came from, and what came to be. I probably should tell that story to really go into it, but I wanted to kind of tease this idea of the worlds. I should have been like simple and said like, oh, it's Middle Earth, or it's, you know what I mean? It's like it's another planet or whatever. I didn't. I was just like, no, I want to have the story transcend. I want there to be parts in the story that don't necessarily add up, because it's like a dream. You know, and that to me is the most important aspect. The story is a dream. The beings that are within, that like the beings, I should say, the main characters, the cast that you're going to read are fragmented. Like I said in the last video, they're all fragmented peoples that were once a whole demigod. They were part of what my Prometheus is going forward, trying to piece themselves back together again. And there's reasons for it, and I'm not going to talk about too much because it would ruin the story, but I just thought it'd be kind of interesting to really explore this with somebody who the fuck's watching this and to see, you know, what people think about it. But like I said, please watch the Chains of Time a little bit more. This video will be definitely helpful in, you know, what the world is. And if needed, I can explore this if I need to. I don't mind. I don't mind talking about this shit and what it is and those drawings I did. You know, like all that stuff. I don't mind going into that more if needed, because all those things, they help understand the highest part of the story, but you don't need to understand all of that to know what's going on. I put a lot of depth into the story from the highest to the lowest. So it's kind of like my, and I don't mean this to sound so blasphemous, but it will probably sound blasphemous to some people. My inspiration was a lot of the Bible. In the mythology of religion was my explanation for why it had to have such depth, and why I went into the Titans and the Aeon, and why I talked about the way that time works and how you access this place, is because there's multiple levels of this story that are happening at the same time. But it's, if you don't have the want to understand the entirety, like if it's too tiring, you don't have to. The story that you can read may just seem like a story about a coming to age tale about this character named Eris, and it might be becoming like a riches to rags kind of story about a guy named Cyprus. You know, if that's okay, if that's what you want to read, that's what it is. But there's higher elements at play. I always call it the high story. The main reason that they're all here is the most important. Eris and his journey are fucking cool and all, but it's really the Forgotten King, or Dulag, or whatever else his name is. Opaque. That's the real fucking story. Because he's only just a pawn himself. He looks like he's a fucking god, but in reality, he's just another being to which more are above him. The observers, the people I talk about in this, there's a special connection that they have in all of this. And that's why, as I said in my last video, for me, all of this book was kind of created because of the dreams I'm having and the dreams I had in my past. And all of the stuff that happened here is built upon some of the things that I was going through. And I put them in this story, and I'm trying to discern what is going on in my dreams. Well, this is the playground in which I explore that. Gotcha. This here, this fucking planet here, to which this exists. This is the place in which the playground begins, where I begin to unravel just what the dreams were telling me the whole time. And that's something that I just wanted to... I had to lay all this out just so you can kind of understand it. You know what I mean? I didn't want you to kind of be too much more in the dark, because the story is progressing so much that it's about to kind of... Like, I'm editing it. I'm only halfway done with the first book, or more than halfway done. But after that point, I got to start taking it out there. And this channel is the platform for the lore. It's the platform to go to. My idea was an online encyclopedia, or an appendix. Instead of having the back of the book, there's a YouTube channel for the appendix that will explain everything you might need to know about the story. So I just thought it'd be kind of cool to talk about this. You know, as it started from the Celtic otherworld and stuff, that was the birth of all of this. When I discovered there was another world, I had to make it myself to try to explore what that other world may be. And just like the other world in the Celtic mythology, at least some of them, a beautiful place that can turn dark and scary. Well, this world looks beautiful and serene, but the deeper you go into it, the darker and scarier it really is. And you start to realize the world itself is trying to kill the beings on it. But anyway, that's that. That's cool, I guess. And until the next time, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about some book stuff. But, you know, we'll see.